Do you remember 9/11? I mean, if you're old enough to remember really anything in 2001, you probably remember a lot about 9/11. For me, I remember watching my brother open his presents on his birthday, getting a call from a neighbor, and my mom turned on the TV, and you see that a plane had run into one of the Twin Towers. But the real question I want to ask today is, do you remember what it was like after 9/11? We'll come back to that at the end of the video, but I want you to think about kind of the aftermath of 9/11. And I know there are people that live in Brazil and some other places that watch these videos, and I hope you stick around because it applies to other countries too. But for me, in my experience, I want to talk about patriotism and nationalism here in the United States. So after 9/11, there was a Gallup poll, and it said that 70% of Americans had extreme pride in the United States. I think it peaked out in 2004, and ever since 2004, it has slowly gone down, and it is now plummeted to 38%. Actually, 38% was last year, it's 39% this year. So the record low was last year in terms of Americans who are extremely proud to be an American. Now, for full transparency, that number sounds bad, and it is, but in other ways it's not, because if you look at that poll, it gave everyone 5 options to describe their pride as an American, and the top one was, I'm extremely proud. The second one was very proud to be an American. Third one was moderately proud. Fifth one was a little proud, and the fifth one was not at all. And so while the top answer had plummeted from 70% down to 38%, if you combine the extremely proud option and the very proud option, you're up to 68% of Americans. And those numbers are pretty good. 68% of Americans are extremely proud or very proud. And then if you add in moderately proud, 22%, you're up to 89%. 89% of Americans are moderately proud or more to be an American, which leaves the bottom 2 options, which was 7% at just a little proud, and only 4% of Americans in this Gallup poll said that they were not at all proud to be an American. And so, like I said, moderately and above, we're doing not too bad. Those numbers are better than I expected. And that's because, given my experience, I grew up in a situation and a time period where I was extremely proud. I would have put myself in that category in 2004, where I was extremely proud. I was one of the 70% for sure of extreme pride in the United States. And that continued to amplify up through my time in Brazil, where living as an American in a foreign country, I was extremely proud to be an American. When I came home, I started to see small problems. I started to see problems with our politics, our government, and just with the system in general. I started to see that my myopic experience of being born and raised in Utah as a white, straight Mormon male was not representative of the mass population here in the United States. That my belief that the American dream was alive and well, that you could get where you wanted to go with hard work and grit and just earn it based on merit. I thought that was always true for everyone because it was true for me. But I still would have put myself in that very proud, or at least moderately proud for sure, of being an American. But then came my religious deconstruction, where I deconstructed religion and eventually God. And with that came this allergic reaction to the Christian nationalism that I would see. The book, A Letter to a Christian Nation by Sam Harris, that was an eye-opening book to what it's like to not be a Christian and live in the United States, and how unethical it is to push your morals on someone else. So the far right had their own issues, but the far left became the mirror image of what they hated through their intolerance of free speech, their obsession with identity politics, and by pushing their own version of purity culture that was the opposite of the Christian one. But they had their own, and you had to fit it. Now, I definitely managed to piss off both sides of the political divide, but I share that because that's the whole problem. Like, I think there is a silent group of Americans that are super dissatisfied with the way that things have turned out on the politics side and on the systemic side of the way that things are. And that was only amplified in 2020 with the issues around the vaccine, around police brutality, and what happened on January 6th. Like, those couple years from probably like 2019 to 2022, when we hit rock bottom at 38% of Americans are extremely proud, like, there's a reason why. And it just seems like both sides of this argument are acting like a spoiled, entitled toddler, pointing at each other and throwing violent tantrums over fighting over a sucker that they're both willing to smash on the ground if that means that the other kid can't have it. Like, grow up. Like, that's just what you look like, and honestly, it's embarrassing. So I guess the question is, what do we do with all that? Do we just throw it all out? Do we see all of these problems and just decide it's not worth being an American and leave it, or try and burn it all down like it seems like some people are trying to do? And the American government isn't the only institution or organization that has problems. Like, what do you do when you see big problems in big organizations? I don't know. I'm not here with answers. Like, this is just stuff that I think about. But one thing that I wanted to talk about, and the reason why I've kind of come back around, I've definitely come back around to feeling proud to be an American. And that would be the difference between nationalism and patriotism. And I want to make a clear definition there. And this might just be semantics, but it's made me feel like there is room for me to continue to be patriotic while at the same time seeing the problems that are prevalent in America. So with patriotism and nationalism, they both have a sense of pride and love and loyalty to one's own country. And those are all good things. But the key difference is the tendency for nationalism to become violent, to be exclusive, to be intolerant of diversity of thought, diversity of people, diversity of culture, and the tendency for violence on the side of nationalism. And so that's why I consider myself to be patriotic and anti-nationalist, in the sense that I want to be incredibly inclusive and understanding and believe someone else's perspective when they say they're having a hard time in this country, but also see the good that is extremely apparent if you care to look at it. So now back to my original question about 9/11. Do you remember what it was like after? And if so, how do we get back to that extreme pride in being an American without finding someone to hate, without starting a war? Because I think most people would agree that the pride that we felt after 9/11 was very nationalistic. It was very exclusive. It was based on fear and hate. And that's a strong motivator. It's a strong uniting force. But I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think it's healthy. So how do we get back to that? And I don't have the answer. I think about that because I hope this video hasn't become kind of a downer, because I am proud to be an American. I love this country. I am incredibly grateful for the country that has given me the opportunity to have such a beautiful life. But at the same time, like, I can't help but see the people that haven't been able to have that in the same system that has allowed me to have that. And so I think there is beauty in this paradox of being patriotic, being proud to be an American, while at the same time knowing that we have a lot to work on. and that there are a lot of people that not only do not benefit from the system, but are harmed by the system. And I think we can fix that without throwing it all away. Luckily, I am not a politician and I don't need to figure out how. But anyways, I hope this video was interesting and thought-provoking and not a huge downer, because truly, this country is amazing and beautiful, and I don't want to live anywhere else. I just want to work together to figure this out and overcome the growing pains that we're going through, because I really truly feel like we are growing. We're getting through something, and on the other side is going to be something beautiful. But I hope this video was interesting, thought-provoking. I hope you can share it with someone and start a conversation about what it's like, or what it means to be patriotic versus nationalistic. I don't know if that's the right word, but and how to be a healthy American, have the pride while also the awareness that there's a lot we can do better. But anyways, like the video, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.
We're waking up to find what's broken down. Is there truth among the wreckage that I forgot along the way?
We're okay. We're okay.
I know that I can't stay, but is there a part that I could hold to if I